When you were young, you probably didn't try and ride a bicycle by looking at guides and understand like the physics of how the wheel moves and like all that. I mean, I'm not like a physics engineer or anything, like all like that cool stuff. You probably just sat on it, rode it, fell a couple times, and then just kept on repeating that until you were able to ride it consistently and fluently and at a high level. And that's kind of how you should learn languages. Now, there are some similarities. Obviously, there are some differences, but most people that I see learn languages, they study words in isolation. They study grammar. They can't speak it. They can't ride the language. They know about the language. They know, okay, like that's a infinitive verb, but when somebody asks them, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? They're like, ¿cómo estoy bien? Ah, sí, estoy bien, sí. And like, honestly, that's why I'm here today, because you probably recognize words, you know words, you can probably even say something, you can answer some questions, but when it comes to actually understanding and having deep conversations with somebody, you either freeze or you're just starting out and you want to start with a system that you can implement and get to conversational fluency in Spanish quicker than the average person. After learning 6 languages and helping dozens of professionals, students, executives, lawyers, and like cool people learn languages, I realized that the language system is broken. And in this video, I'm going to tell you what you're doing wrong, how I and other people became fluent in Spanish, and 3 techniques that you can use to achieve conversational fluency in Spanish in a more effective, simpler, and enjoyable way. So grab a notebook, grab a pencil, and let's dive in. So what are you doing wrong? I think there's a couple things here. First of all, I think you're not consistent. You learn it maybe once, twice a week, 3 times a week. Maybe sometimes like you learn it for a couple days and then you stop learning. There are some times when you're consistent, but the level of output, the level of input isn't consistent. Some days you learn it for a lot, some days you learn it for a little bit, some days you just like do it for a check mark that you learn it on that day. And the time of actually studying and diving into the language and understanding how it works and using it and speaking it for a decent amount of time per day is inconsistent. That's one thing that I commonly see happen. And I think the cure for this is finding such a deep why and finding such a deeply enjoyable process that you're like, I love doing this. This is amazing. And I am going to do this for a higher reason. Maybe I want to travel. Maybe I have a girlfriend that speaks Spanish. Maybe her family speaks Spanish. Maybe I want to build a business in Spanish-speaking countries. Who knows? And having a consistent execution system. Not having a consistent execution system is number 2. You don't know what to do. You maybe like know that I'm going to do a Duolingo, which I don't like Duolingo. I'm against it. I've tried it. I've tried like more than 50 apps, and Duolingo is like one of the worst apps that I've tried. I should probably make a video about that, yeah. But anyways, maybe you're just have no consistent execution system. You don't like know exactly what to do every day. You wake up, probably pee first, because that's what I do. Like most people that I know pee first. Yeah. So, and then another reason that I find people not learning languages is that they consistently learn a language. They have an execution system, everything, but they just learn it wrong. And what I mean by learning it wrong is that they learn it ineffectively. Now, what I mean by that is that they learn words, individual words, without any connection to other context, without any like connection, relatability to oneself. When you learn a language and you make it relatable to yourself and you learn words that and your vocabulary that you actually need, then it makes the language a lot more interesting and unique and valuable for yourself, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So instead of learning like, the green potato is walking in the field, you can say, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Or I'm going to drink some tea. And then you drink the tea and you say, I'm drinking tea. Estoy bebiendo té. Estoy bebiendo té. Voy a beber té. Tengo té. Tengo té. Tengo té. Voy a beber mi té. Vamos. Entonces, mira. Spanish, English. Cool. So pretty much. Fudge. Cakes. Chill. Okay. Now, if you learn languages without other context, if you just learn I want without I want to eat, I want to swim, I want an apple, I want a potato, in Spanish, quiero comer, quiero tomar café, quiero una manzana, that's Spain pronunciation, una manzana is Latin American pronunciation, I say that because you're like, you pronounce Spanish incorrectly. Get a Spanish pronunciation coach. And I mean, there's two different types of pronunciation. So I'm just like, I just say that just, but I do pronounce Spanish correctly. Yeah, I'm going to film a video of me speaking Spanish for 60 minutes for like those that think that I'm not fluent in it. Cool? That sounds cool? Yay. I'm going to do that this week or next week. Retrieval. Yes. So if you learn a language and it's not retrieved, and if you learn a language, only one retrieval pathway. For example, I want an apple, right? I want, yo quiero una manzana. Spain pronunciation. Yo quiero una manzana, right? An apple. That's just one retrieval pathway. You don't have many. And then if you learn it in different ways, like yo quiero comer, I want to eat. Yo quiero comer. Boom. Yo quiero. And then él come una manzana. Boom. So you're like kind of using these words in different contexts, and if you build this in conversation or on paper and sentences, that's when the real magic happens. So that's what you're doing wrong. You don't have a consistent execution system. You aren't consistent at all. You don't learn chunks. You learn words. You don't learn with metacognition. So there's cognitive learning. There's metacognitive learning. Cognitive learning is like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and that's it. Like, I'm going to do Duolingo, that's it. Metacognitive learning is thinking, what is the most effective strategy that I can use right now? What strategies can I use? Why should I use these strategies over other strategies? Who can help me implement these strategies? When should I use these language learning strategies? What language learning strategies are there even? That's metacognitive learning. You're thinking about how you're thinking. You're thinking about how you're learning. That's the next level. And that's another problem that I see. People learn it cognitively instead of learning metacognitively. And when you learn metacognitively, then your language learning becomes so much more effective. And talking about metacognitive learning, I spent so much time on this topic. Like, I spent so much time, like, I literally watched every single course on metacognition. I talked to every single teacher on metacognition, and I know a lot. And I distilled all that knowledge into a free 7-day Spanish Foundations course that will not only teach you the foundations of metacognition and language learning, but also teach you the foundations of Spanish. Win-win situation. Check it in the link description. Click 1, 2, 3. I don't know. There's like a couple buttons there. But anyways, click like the 7-day free Spanish Foundation course after this video, because 3 techniques that you can use. And also I'll get in how you can become fluent. But anyways, it's there just like to let you know, because we were on the same path. I mean, I was talking about it, so might as well. So how to actually become fluent? You become fluent by not forcing it. You don't make it as a chore in your day. You don't say, I'm going to learn Spanish from 5 to 7 p.m. and I'm going to do this. I mean, that's good, right? That's good to put it into your schedule. Have like a language learning block, right? But most people are busy. Most people have a job. Most people have school. Most people, they're busy, right? I mean, you're probably busy. And you don't have like 1 hour to learn Spanish. And that's why you want to put it around you. We want to build it around your day. Build it, connect it with previous habits. So how do you build it around your day? It's simple. How I do it. Let's say I'm going to take a walk to work, right? Or take a walk to the beach. Or take a walk to go to the store. I take my phone and I record a 5-minute video message of myself speaking whatever target language I'm learning. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, but so effective. The benefits are like crazy. It forces output, enabling you to be able to speak and strengthen the neural connections that are in your brain. So it strengthens memory by a lot. It makes you speak in real life, and it also gives you this freedom to express your ideas and express your thoughts in ways that you couldn't before. And it also makes it very relatable to your life. If you speak with video messages like this, is like, I can like persuade you, but I'm not gonna do that right now because this is important. Actually, there's like this quote where teaching is 80% persuasion, 20% actual value. I try not to persuade people, even though like most people watch this video and they don't do anything. But I'm gonna try and make this so that you can do something. So the takeaway of this, how else? Great question. Yeah, I don't only film video messages of myself all day. Let's say I'm in the bus. I'm driving on the bus. I have like hundreds of hours of podcasts downloaded on my phone, just in the basic files. I have this type of phone. But basic files, you can download it. And then you like on the way, if you're offline, I mean, I like to learn offline because I don't get distracted. But you can just plug in headphones, just like headphones, listen, and then just shadow or mirror. If you don't know what that is, then you're amazing. And if you do know what that is, you're also amazing. But pretty much what it is you listen to something and in real time, you repeat everything back in real time. Shadowing is literally you listen and like it's like literally shadowing the person. Mirroring is you listen, you pause, and you try and say it and pronounce it and same emotional tone, everything just like they did. All right, so shadowing, dash, repeat what they say, do this in a bus or in a car or in a when you're cooking or when whatever. Like I do this all the time. I recommend writing and creating in the morning and retrieving and recalling in the evening. This is what I do. So in the morning, I usually wake up and after like a work block, I usually what I do is I turn on some like podcast or something and I just write down words or I connect sentences or I have conversations or I speak to myself. And then in the evening, I take those words. I'll talk about more like some cool techniques that you can use exactly specifically step by step later in this video, but that's just an example, right? So you build it by building around your life, around your lifetime, and then setting timers at times when you need to learn it. You also become fluent by learning metacognitively, which I spoke about earlier, which is very important. You also become fluent by actually driving the language and using the language in real life. That's kind of like a basis, but the main thing here is that you want to build it around your life. You want to build this language around your life, not force it into your life and cram it consistently, slowly, distribute it around your life. There's actually a study done. It compared distributed practice and crammed session. And it found that distributed practice is like so much times more effective than crammed practice. It's crazy. I love reading studies on language learning. That's just like a hobby of mine, is just sitting down reading studies on language learning. This is super cool. So distribute your practice across the day, morning, evening, work. In the shower, speak to yourself in the shower in Spanish. It sounds weird, but do it. And last but definitely not even close to least, 3 techniques to achieve conversational fluency. All right, now I didn't script this video. I didn't like plan it out loud. So I'm going to think of this on the spot. But for you specifically, I think that you need to add SRS, right? You need to add some form of SRS. There's this app called Brainscape, which I personally enjoy a lot. And when you're listening, I'll talk about the LPSC method later. Like that's the second thing. But the first method is SRS. It's like use Brainscape or Anki. And you might already do this. But what I recommend is learning it in chunks. Learning it in some form of, with context. Not just like this word, like what word to word, but learning it in some type of context. And not using one card, but use like 1 card to 3 cards or 4 cards. Like use one word and use it in 4 different types of context or 3 different types of context. 3 to 5 is fine. That's the first thing I recommend you do. Specifically focus on spaced repetition systems across your day. I love Brainscape. It's free and I love it. Like there's no like premium or anything. I think there is, but I'd never even pay for it. And I do this in the bus or in like when I'm walking or something, or like if I'm sitting down, wherever I do this. If I'm commuting somewhere, all right? It's super simple. The algorithm is amazing and I love it. Cool. The second thing, which is the LPSC method. Let me just I'm not going to persuade you how good this is because actually I made this myself. I can be proud, I guess. But I made this myself and it's literally, I'd never even heard about this anywhere in the market, Spanish speaking, whatever, language learning, YouTube space. Listen to some form of comprehensible input. It should be 80 to 70 to 90% understandable. You want to make it relatable to your life or somewhat interesting to you. That's L. Listen. When you're listening, your goal is to write down at least 20 words. Write down you want to stop when you hit 20 words, all right? 20 words. And I walk the talk. This is my language learning notebook. Let's see. All right. Boom. See that? That was for today. So everything that I teach, I do. And I love learning languages. It's like the best thing. I love talking learning languages, and I love learning languages. Like the 2 favorite things. And I also love teaching languages. Talking about it, teaching it, and learning is like the best. Actually, if you want to learn a language in 4 to 6 months, and you're like a professional, I personally helped lots of professionals become conversation fluent in 6 months. Click the link. Let's have a chat. I can build a custom language system around your life, around how your brain works, around your learning style. Just like give it a bunch of systems. The call is free. There's nothing to lose. I mean, no pressure at all if you want to chat. All cool. Anyways, so we're at P. P is process. When you're listening, you hear an interesting word or phrase or something that's unique. What you want to do is you want to write that down. Process it on your notebook. You want to just understand what it means. You can maybe use a translator or whatever. You want to understand like what the actual word means. For example, like quiero. Quiero. Interesting. Cool word. We'll write that down, which is I want in Spanish. The next thing that you want to do, quiero. Sorry, I'm going over the 5 basic verbs, but no, we're on S, which is speak. All right, you want to say the word out loud. You want to listen to it, and then say it out loud. S, speak, say it loud. Listen, process, speak, and then last but not least, C is customize. You want to customize this to your life. All right, customize it to your life. And the third technique, there's two things here. For speaking specifically, and for vocab. For vocab growth, for speaking growth, what this is story speaking. Now, what you do is you ask yourself a couple questions in English, translate those to Spanish, and then just do a 5-10 minute speaking story session, or pick some words and then just talk about it. And what this will do, you will understand exactly. And I personally do this all the time. I would never learn any language. I test my skills. It's called the 5-minute challenge. So I speak for 5 minutes, and if I make more than 5 errors, then I'm not conversationally fluent. All right. I speak for 5 minutes. If I make more than 5 errors, I'm not conversationally fluent. All right. I actually passed this test with Spanish, so I guess I am conversationally fluent. I did not pass the test with Serbian. I did pass it with Russian. Serbian, I got to do it again. I definitely got to do this again. Because languages, they degrade. So story speaking session, listen, speak, also record videos. So this is like literally speak, and then rewatch those videos. And then you want to rewatch those videos and look at your mistakes. All right, look at your mistakes. This will make sure that you will not make those mistakes again. Cool. Hopefully that helped. Peace. All the best. Check out the free 7 Days Spanish Foundation course. It's amazing. And all the best. Bye.